What's going on, people? So today we're going to be working on HackTheBox Sherlock. We're going to be working on the Meerkat box, which is a SOC category easy difficulty box. So this is sort of just a blind run through of actually doing the Meerkat room. So we'll go through the scenario. As a fast-growing startup, Forella, which I assume is the name of the business, has been utilizing a business management platform. Unfortunately, our documentation is scarce and our administrators aren't the most security aware. As our new provider, we'd like you to have a look at some PCAP and log data we have exported to confirm if we have or have not been compromised. Alright, so sounds easy enough. So let's download the files and we will have a look at them. Now we've got our zip file. So the first thing we're going to do is actually unzip it and we'll provide the password. Alright, so now we've got two files here. We've got a JSON file and a PCAP file. So first thing we're going to do is look at the PCAP file, meerkat.pcat. We've got quite a lot of information here. First things first is figure out which endpoints are talking. So statistics, and then we're going to go to endpoints. And if we go to the IPv4 tab here, we can see a different endpoint IP addresses. So if we filter by bytes, we can get an idea of which IP addresses are sending the most packets. So it looks like we've got a local IP address sending the most packets, which is probably our business management software. Let's just have a look at the TCP tab here, filter by packets, just to get an idea of the ports. So just based on these open ports here, it's looking like it's a web server. So if we go back to our packets here, we can do a filter for TCP port equals. So straight out the gate, we can see some pretty useful information here. We're seeing some GET requests to Bonita using HTTP. Bonita homepage. So this is indicating a web application of some sort. We're seeing some posts to it, to a login service. So if we do, there we go, we see a username and password already. But let's just do a search for Bonita. Okay, that's not very helpful. Bonita software, Bonita soft, that sounds about right. So it's a business process management software. Bonita soft, let's see if that actually is correct. Okay, looks like it is. Bonita soft is the name of the management platform. So we believe the attacker may have used a subset of the brute forcing attack category. What is the name of the attack carried out? Okay, so let's go back to our PCAP and have a look at what is actually going on. Let's follow the stream. So we're seeing a username here, clerk.killick@forella.co.uk, and password is this, which looks like a randomly generated password. So let's use that as a filter so we can see all of the logins. So if we just scroll through, we're seeing a bunch of different username and passwords. But what we are seeing in common is, firstly, it's coming from the same source, hitting the same destination. So this is indicating that it's one person, one source. It's actually sending all these post requests. So, and we see that the time is very shortly after another, which indicates a brute force of some sort. So let's actually go back to our question. What subset of brute forcing attack? This could be credential stuffing. Let's try it. Okay. So credential stuffing is a type of brute force attack where a threat actor would use automated tools to basically stuff stolen credentials to try to gain access. Okay, so we've seen indication of that, which makes sense. So does the vulnerability exploited have a CVE assigned, and if so, which one? So the vulnerability exploited, we probably can't find from the PCAP. So it might be a good time to just take a break from the PCAP. And let's just have a look at the JSON file. Let's just see what is going on there. Okay, so let's just do a grep for CVE in the Meerkat alerts JSON file. So we're seeing CVE 25237, 25237, 25237, 25237. Let's just grab this and Hail Mary it into HackTheBox and see if that is the CVE. C. What is it actually expecting? Hang on. This might be correct. Alright. So we've got our CVE. Now, which string was appended to the API URL path to bypass the authorization filter? So it might be helpful if we just do a search on the CVE and have a look at it. Get a bit more information on what is going on. Bonita Web 2021 is affected by an authentication authorization bypass. By appending this or this to the end of a URL, users with no privilege can access privileged API endpoints. See if that is. Hey, alright. How many combinations of username and passwords were used in the Gensha stuffing attack? Okay. So I played around with this for a while, and the way I figured out, the easiest way I could figure out how to do this was to go to statistics, endpoints, TCP, and basically we're looking at this source IP address. This is our malicious IP address. There we go. And if you see up the top in the tab, we've got 60 total TCP connections. So theoretically, if we just subtract the IPs that aren't the malicious one, we should be able to figure this out. So 1, 2, 3, and then scroll all the way down, 4. So that leaves us with 56. So let's 56 in. Perfect. Which username and password combination was successful? So now we're going to figure out which combination actually worked. So if we go back to our, so I've gone ahead and filtered by HTTP request. So we're trying to basically find where the hacker has actually logged in. So we see a lot of 401s, and then we see 204. So 204 is what we're looking for and is a successful login. So if we click the post request that was sent to Bonita login service, and we just expand this, we look at the post request username and password. So we've got sebroom@forella.co.uk, password of government. Sweet, okay. Task 7, if any, which text sharing site did the attacker utilize? So let's go back to our packet capture. Let's just have a look at the GET requests. Okay, that looks like something we care about. We've got paste.io. Alright, let's try that. Cool. Please provide the file name of the public key used by the attacker to gain persistence on our host. Alright, so let's actually look at what this is. Alright, so we've got a curling this file, so this is a different file to the authorized SSH keys, and then doing a restart of it. Wow, so it's actually putting its own SSH key into the, it's authorizing its own SSH key, interesting, which is here. This is the file name, right? Cool. Can you confirm the file modified by the attacker to gain persistence? Can you confirm the file modified? Yeah, so this is this one. Oh, what's the whole file path? Right, it was that? Yeah, cool. And then lastly, well, we're actually at the end here. So can you confirm the MITRE technique ID of this type of persistence mechanism? Let's go to MITRE. MITRE attack, not MITRE 10. So we're looking for the technique ID. So we'll go techniques, enterprise. So this was persistence, because we're actually persisting in the environment by adding our own SSH key. So does it have a persistence? There we go. I don't know why that's not being highlighted. Persistence, SSH, I'm pretty sure that's what we're looking for. SSH authorized keys. So it modifies the SSH authorized keys files to maintain persistence. It's the full ID. Awesome. Interesting. That was a pretty fun little CTF. Probably took about an hour overall. There are times where I would be playing with filters, trying to find what I'm looking for, but in terms of analyzing that PCAP file, it was pretty straightforward, so pretty happy with that.